We'll cut you off. Greg Hackett is here. So
Let's
let me
go.
add Greg to the stage. Greg, what's up, champ?
Uh-oh.
I'm chilling. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Greg?
Just
I'm
chopping it
chilling.
up, man.
Are you guys about
You
to
in
get
camp right
LeBron?
now?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting here watching some Earl Spence. That's
Yeah.
Okay,
all.
so who do you got in that fight?
I think it's a pretty 50-50 fight. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
be fair. Both guys is mean and tough. You know what I mean? They tough guys. But they both been through some trauma in the ring, and most importantly outside the ring. So all of that you got to take into consideration. But I think with the time off, I think Earl he's more healthy than he was right before he fought Crawford. But I think his eyes may deceive him a little bit. You know what I mean? Depending on, how Tim Tszyu decide to move. But I just think it's a 50-50 fight. And if Earl could get through the first 3 rounds, like without getting hit with a big shot, I think he can pull off on Tim Tszyu. But if Tim Tszyu is landing early, Tim Tszyu might get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I wonder how Errol's reaction times and his punch resistance, and again those reaction times. You were talking about his eyes. I think that lines up with that same kind of sentiment, right, Greg?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's a more than most fights. I feel like that's a rhythm fight. Like Earl needs to get into his rhythm, and that's kind of the hardest thing when you have been fighting for 3 years, getting into your rhythm.
Yeah, true.
His jab, I think, is the big issue in this fight for Tim Tszyu. Is Tim, he likes to range find with it and then get closer to you. And I think he has better hand speed than Errol these days. He's a little sharper. He's got some. Just think he's got better hand speed, but the problem is his hand speed is coming at a closer distance, and he's gonna have to get through that jab. And he has a little pull game to him, like he has a little twitch. I think it's actually slept on with Tim Tszyu. He has a little twitch, but he's also very hittable, and a lot of his defense is gonna come in a more basic format. And so, how does he get around that jab? How does he get to where he needs to get to get his best punches off? And Errol had one of the best jabs in boxing. Errol's bigger than him, even though
And
he
it's
has.
a
Yeah,
volume jab too. He throws it at a pretty high output. It's fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Tim's not really like a. I wouldn't really classify Tim as a counter puncher, but he likes to
yeah.
exchange.
When he was countering, it was him being confident coming forward, like on the front foot. And I don't know. I think some of that confidence at this level, not against lesser guys, that's different, but at this level, it's been taken from him a little bit. You know, um, before he was walking motherfuckers down, and now is he going to have that same kind of confidence and energy against or against Spence if that jab is popping in his face early and often? Like, just
Yo, Greg, what I want to know, with you being there in Philly, man, how's Cool Boy looking, man? Because he's in a really interesting crossroads fight, and he didn't make weight last time out against Shock Foster, which was disappointing. Is he gonna be ready for this one?
I think he gonna be ready, but from what I saw, his mentality is like more of a he just want to fight.
Mm.
Like he just want to fight. So I think this gonna be an interesting fight because that guy,
Liam.
Liam Wilson, is it? Or Liam?
Yep. Liam Wilson. Yep.
Yeah, he not really like trying to box you too much. He keep his hands up high, and he'll work you with a jab a little bit, but he trying to get you and beat you up. And Cool Boy, this camp look like he trying to do the same thing. So I think we just in for a good war.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of wars, Stephen Fulton.
Hmm.
So you think at this stage he can take that kind of fight again, because he's been through the gauntlet from, like, even when he was a prospect, when he was fighting, like, what was it, Joshua Greer and Adam Lopez, Angel Leo, Figueroa, Danny Roman. I mean, he's been, in a way, he's been
Yeah,
through it.
yeah. I mean, it's mentality, man. Some guys' mentality level is like longer than others. Like, you know what I mean, some guys could do that shit all their life, and some of them they have a deadline.
what
Okay.
happened to his mentality when like you really you really had something to prove to shut everybody up in that Figueroa rematch,
Hmm.
and then just the next time, like, doesn't even make 130. Kind of cut like how did he go from turned on mentally like that to then having that kind of letdown against Shock?
Yeah.
I think to be honest, guys from like where he's from, in Philly, you don't really see yourself making it.
Mm.
So when you so when you make it, it's kind of like hard to like still be hungry.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? People think that sometimes when guys talk about the inner city or where they from, they trying to like uh get some type of like recognition for saying that it's tough. Philly is fucked up. I, I don't I don't know no other way to say it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Philly's fucked up. So when somebody makes it out of Philly, it means a lot because it's really hard to do. So I think when you look at a sport like boxing, where you got to be at your best physically and mentally, that's hard to maintain when you now living a life that you never really imagined.
do you
Yeah.
think he was a little satisfied, a little content, and say like, all right, I
He's
proved these
living life
motherfuckers
now. You
wrong.
in
I won
Miami on the
I won that
boats.
belt again. Yeah, like
Yeah, because you going from growing up where you feel like your life is on the line every day, and then it's like now I can just eat whatever I want, or I can buy whatever I want, or I can go do whatever I want. It's a different lifestyle.
Greg, if I'm not mistaken, you're from Germantown, right? You're from that part of Philly.
Yeah,
What part of Philly is Stephen Fulton from?
North Philly and West Philly.
North Philly. Okay. Yeah, North
You
Philly.
know how
I
you. So
I
some
was
people say, how is that possible? Like, well, your mom is from one side, your dad is from the other, so you
correct.
grow up in both sides.
You go to maybe your mom or dad's house on a weekday or weekends, and you
Yeah,
kind of just alternate.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
that's where B Hop was from, right? Right,
Yeah,
Greg
Germantown,
Germantown.
North Philly, Germantown and North Philly. Yeah.
Oh, so that's where Germantown is in North Philly.
No, Germantown is above North Philly, but Bernard was from Germantown and North Philly. Like
Oh,
he
okay,
spent
gotcha,
time.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Greg, I remember when I went down there in 2022 at Philly Boxing 101. Is that North Philadelphia?
That's Frankfurt.
That's Frankfurt? Okay.
Frankfurt is like an island.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they had a lot of people from Germany in the early days of Philly, man. Germantown, Frankfurt,
Germantown,
like
Frankfurt.
yeah,
That's funny as shit.
yeah, because my last name is German, Greg. You know what it means too, right?
No,
Lazy peasant.
for real.
Oh shit.
That's what Zittel means
So
in
that was like
German.
something somebody made up.
But so my story is, I had to have a great, 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 great something that was piping the king's wife and
Mm.
piping her good. So once the king got word of it, he said, your whole lineage now, because you did some shit like that, is now going to be called the lazy peasants. That's my spin on it.
Yeah,
We
that sounds crazy.
That's wild. That's crazy.
because I don't
That's
think
So
we
funny.
volunteered for that shit.
No, for
nah.
sure.
So Greg, it's been a few weeks since the Boots fight, man. How you feeling about it now and Boots being unified champion again and then I guess just now the whole 54 division, the whole Vergil situation with Golden Boy, all that stuff. How do you feel about all that?
I mean, I think far as Boots getting the win over Xander, we here's the thing about Philly. We very realistic when it comes to everything. And what I mean is we know that that wasn't the best win that you can get, but that was a good
Mm.
win. We know
Mm-hmm.
that that's a good win. We do know that. But
It's
that's not
quality.
the best win. So we don't get all like riled up like, "Oh man, he beat King Kong." We know that wasn't King Kong. But where the satisfaction comes from is we've been trying to tell people for years, like this bull, he gonna make you fight, man. He gonna put you through hell. And if you don't prepare for hell, there's no way you'll be able to make it 12 rounds with him. You know what I mean? So the little bit of satisfaction is seeing other people start to see it, start to understand it, and to see him flourish a little bit and start to do more interviews and things like that, start to open up, speak a little bit about his story. You know what I mean? But we understand also there's more work to be done. You know what I mean? Fundora, Josh Kelly. and Virgil, but I think Virgil, that situation is bad, man.
Yeah,
I ain't even gonna lie. I feel like that's a bad luck type of situation. I feel like it's just not gonna happen. For some reason, we didn't get the Stanley Onis fight, and then now it's like they're going through the same thing with Boots. It's all this extra stuff. It's a lot of business getting involved, and it was crazy because you could clearly see that the promoter and the manager wasn't on the same page, and then now everybody's pretending to be on the same page, but I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
they still. You know what I mean? It's just
It,
too much with them.
I was saying
so
earlier they got to land the Fundora fight now.
correct.
Virgil
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
Virgil, this is third weight class. He hasn't even fought for a world title yet. It's approaching 30. Never been in a championship fight.
yeah. I mean, it happens when guys. I think when you in the business where you kind of care more about a guy being famous than actually getting some shit done, you know what I mean? That it could backfire. And I think that's what happened. I think they were trying to force fame on Virgil. Oscar De La Hoya was speaking about Virgil as if Virgil was Canelo, but he wasn't ready yet. It didn't happen. So I think the way you get a kid like Virgil there is you got to get him the fights. You got to get him the fights because he doesn't even look like Canelo. And what I mean is Canelo is popular partially because of his looks. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
He's from Mexico.
He's redheaded.
Yeah,
He's pure Mexican.
See,
Like
it's funny.
yeah,
People try to hit us with the pause if we say a kid's a good-looking young kid, but they don't know. Classically, in boxing talk, all the way back to the 30s and 40s, they would say he's a good-looking prospect. He's a good. That's called part
he
of the
had
marketability.
the
People, right,
look.
Greg? You
right,
know what I mean?
right,
Like, come on now. Yeah,
right. And I don't think Virgil carries the same thing when you're talking about Canelo. Like if you try to compare him, you know what I mean? So Virgil is the guy that got to put the work in. So De La Hoya shit has just really kept him active. But now it's kind of like hard to get him in position. You know
Greg.
what I
I
mean?
think Oscar though was. I think Oscar was just like talking, trying to talk his kid up. So when you get to the negotiation talk, you go high, you go low. I
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
was more what really happened was Rick was trying to backdoor him to Zuffa.
Yeah.
Yep. Cut about the deal.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that too though. And that's why these young fighters they got to learn. These people that you signing with, a lot of times you getting to meet them as you're a professional. You don't really know these guys. The only people you know from some years in is like your trainers and shit. So when you start meeting these promoters and you start meeting these managers, you gotta ask them questions too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get to know them too. You gotta kind of get in their business too. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you gotta figure out what kind of person you dealing with. Because now you putting your career in this person's hands and they just all over the place.
And
You know what I mean?
they all do a great job at first of selling you a dream and all that stuff. And you don't really get a chance to meet the promoters and the managers really until you get some time in with them. But by that time, if you're locked into a contract, now your career is in a bad position.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, they selling them some shit they can't even see right away, and it's bad.
You think,
Correct.
yeah, and it's funny. Earlier, you were like, basically, it's like because Kobe was from Philly, and he's like, the job's not finished, right? When he was up in the finals, and that's what it was reminding me of when Greg said Philly is still like the job's not finished. Good win against Xander Zayas, but we still. You said King Kong. I think Sebastian Fundora is more like Ghidorah. I don't know how much Godzilla movies you guys watch, but Ghidorah was the one with the long three heads and the
Yeah.
long
Mm,
necks on those three. He still got
Yeah.
to fight Ghidorah. But yeah, man, you think Breadman gave a great breakdown on both of them. He thinks Virgil is a longer distance fight. It's the toughest fight, and he thinks he's picking Boots to beat the field, and I agree with him. But he thinks Fundora would be like a 3 round Hagler Hearns type shootout,
Mm.
and Boots would win that, in a shootout. But do you think Virgil would beat Fundora? Like, who do you think is the
Yeah.
toughest fight
Who?
for Boots?
I think the toughest fight is Fundora because of what he brings to the table. You don't see that every day. I mean, you don't see a guy who's 6'6" who can sit inside and throw an uppercut. You know what I mean? It's guys that tall that won't even try to throw an uppercut. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I think because of things like that, it just makes it awkward and makes it a hard fight just
He's
because
got
of how he's
real
built.
real dense bones too. So if you get hit with a shot the wrong way, your eye orbital bone is broken. Your eyes start closing up before you expect it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely Fundora. You know what I mean? But you just never know.
One of the main things that you kept bringing up, Greg, going into the Zayas fight was the pace that Jaron Ennis fights at.
Hmm.
How big of a factor is that in matches with Vergil and Fundora, and do you feel like he could impose his pace on those guys?
I think that's what's going to happen to most of the guys
Yeah.
because what I know from watching fighters don't even really train that hard.
Mm,
Everybody got a different training methods. Like you got
right.
guys who hit the bag and they'll have their trainer explaining things to them every step of the way. So they hitting the bag hard, but the pace is kind of slow because you stopping and listening to instructions. Or you might have a guy who's he just tapping the bag just to go through the motions, just to say I did my rounds. Boots is giving you 150% every round, even if it's shadow boxing, even if it's jump rope. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, he gonna give you 150. It's gonna be hard for those guys to keep up because them giving 150 is not natural to them. To Boots is natural for him to give 150. So it feels more normal for him to be fighting at a very high pace when these guys, are looking for spots to breathe, looking for spots to slow down, looking for spots to think. You know what I mean? And they just won't have it.
Greg, I don't
Okay.
think, respectfully as always, of course, I don't think it's going to come down to a pace issue for those two, though. I think Honduras training hard in the mountains. I think they both fight at high paces themselves. I just think for Boots wins because of just the overall talent, the shit you see in the gym all the time,
Versatility.
the versatility, the speed, the reflexes, just the ridiculous talent that he has, and but I don't think it's going to be a pace issue though. Those guys fight at a pretty good volume themselves.
So I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. These guys don't train. All right, they don't have nobody in the camp that's putting their life on the line. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, like they're not being pushed to the point where somebody is really trying to get off on them. I can tell because every fighter got like little moves they do where they take a break. Fundora, when he got caught by
Mendoza.
when Mendoza, if you look at that fight again, right? Mendoza threw a set of combinations. He stepped back. Fundora looked up. He looked up first, like to take, like that was like his break. And then when he went to punch, he dropped his left hand. That's because he
Mm,
not used to nobody shooting back with him, like firing with him at the same time. So when he got caught with that shot, he just ain't see the shot. You know what I mean? And he was being lackadaisical. That comes from not having somebody throw when you throw. You get what I'm trying to say? Virgil is always the bully.
mm.
When we saw with Boachuk, when he wasn't the bully, he ended up going down twice. So now I'm saying you gonna get that, but you're gonna get it with some style. You're gonna get it with some accuracy. You're gonna get it with some speed. You know what I mean? You're gonna it's just gonna get bad. I'm telling you.
What about Bud? What if I don't think I don't think it's gonna
It's not
happen,
that's
but
not happening, but
it's
it's cool.
not. I don't say never because I do think Bud is so competitive that if Boots in the next 12 months
Well,
becomes undisputed or something like
and
that, like you
Bud
never
hasn't been
know.
retired for a year yet either. It's only been like what, 9, 10 months.
I can even
Yeah.
see him getting a little bored. Like this commentary shit is cool, but I don't love it as much as Sean and Tim do on the broadcast. Like I still kind of my
Yeah.
hands get a little itchy watching this shit sometimes. Like I can see that being the case for Terrence. So I would I respect Terrence. He has nothing to prove. All that like it is not something he needs to do for any other reason other than he would want to. But
Just
like
because.
you're so you said like Philly's realistic about it. How would you like your guy in that fight?
Now remember when you said Breadman said that Fundora and Boots would be like Hagler Hearns? I think Bud and Boots would be like Hagler Hearns. The reason I think that, everybody knows how tactical Bud is. But every time you seen Bud really had hands put on him, it was early in the fight.
Hmm.
That's when you better get him. If you don't get him in the first 4 rounds, then you're gonna have a hell of a night on your hands. You understand?
Yeah,
Boots being a high-paced fighter, Bud being the athlete that he is and the marksman that he is, they gonna get right to it. They both know. I guarantee they both know that about each other. If they
yeah,
got in the ring with each other, they would get right to it because that's a fight you can't bullshit. You can't get caught on no bullshit. So I like you, Sean. I feel like Bud will get bored and possibly try to come back because he's too much of an animal to just let the game go away like that. And
correct.
on top of that, no disrespect, but he got kids, bro. When you got kids, you got to keep the paper rolling in. Of course, you can get the commentating money. Of course, you can buy real estate. Everybody, the same old story. But that shit is boring. That shit is boring.
He's a
When you love,
fighter.
when you love the fight, that's what you want to do. So yeah, I could see him coming back, and that to me is the best fight in boxing in a long time.
I
Yeah, it
know.
would be something special we haven't seen in a long time, BT.
Yeah,
Like that Tony McCallum, Ray Leonard, Tommy Hurt, like that.
we used to talk, me and Sean used to talk about that fight all the time in 2023. I don't know how you
2022, 2021.
2022. I remember when, even though Spence had three of the titles, I felt by the time the fight rolled around that actually it was Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis that was the real number one versus number two. I don't know if you feel the same way, Greg, but
Hold on, I gotta get one story off
go
because
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
felt that way so strong. Look, again, shout out to Errol, man. Like borderline Hall of Famer, everything, man. But I felt even arguably Vergil, by the time Crawford Spence actually came off, was, even though he had no accomplishments to his name like Errol Spence, even arguably Vergil was a bigger threat. But Boots for sure. I was saying, I have a tweet in 2021 saying Boots beat Spence in 2021. But anyways, the story is Terence is getting his he's finishing at the Apex Center his public workout, his media workout for the Spence fight. And Bernie the boxer pulls up on me like, "Hey man, like, what's with this Boots shit? Like you keep pressing as a narrative like Bud doesn't want to fight Boots. Man, Bud offered Boots the fight on the BLK last year and he didn't want blah, blah, blah." And I'm just like, "Look, Bernie, I'm gonna tell you straight up. I know what's about to happen. I got Bud by knockout all day. I think he's gonna win by knockout. I'm keeping it straight with you. I think the tougher fight right now, the real fight, is Jaron Ennis." And I was like, I get it. Jaron, it's not the bigger fight. It's not the undisputed fight. But I'm like, but boxing. Boots is the biggest threat to Terence Crawford right now, not Errol Spence. And it got a little bit of friction. And, thank God, Bernie, with all his amateur experience, it just stayed, verbal and everything. I'm not being a tough guy or nothing
Yeah, yeah.
about it, but I did stand on it. I was like, bro, Bud's gonna knock Spence out, and Boots is the fight now.
What was that analogy Sean used to use? Like Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I wanted to talk to Greg about that before he got out of here too, because it was
Yeah.
just the 21st anniversary. My time yesterday, your guys' time 2 days ago. So I definitely want to talk to Greg about Bernard and Jermaine Taylor in a minute. But yeah, it was. I just said, look, like that's what made Bernard different than everybody else was not Floyd Mayweather, not Canelo. Nobody would take that Jermaine Taylor fight against a 26-year-old, big, strong, athletic, next up. I mean, the fight was called Next in Line.
Yep.
The next in line for Bud is Boots. And yeah, but go ahead, Greg. I talked long enough.
Go.
Sorry, brother.
No, I'm just listening, man. I mean, Sean, that's why I fuck with you, because for the most part, I ain't never heard you like say something and not stand on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you whatever it is you say, right or wrong, you stand on that, and I respect that. So, you know what I mean? We just talking boxing, ain't nothing. You know what I mean?
YSM let me know I got Philly very mad at me for the whole. It would be bigger for boxing because Puerto Rico needs a star. They haven't had a star since Cotto. But then me and Breadman talked about it, and Bread's like, "Look, man, it's always the best man winning is what's good for the game," and I
Yeah.
ultimately agreed with that, you know. So he made me stand off of that a little bit, but you're right. I'll stand on it. So go
Yeah, I
ahead, Greg.
mean, if you said that because you from New York, from my understanding, and you know how Puerto Rico backs their fighters. It's been a while since we had that Cotto feeling. It's been a while since we had that Tito feeling, and I'm not gonna lie, it was exciting. I mean, because they was beating dudes up. You know what I mean? But it's just we waiting for that feeling again. You know what I mean? It's
Gonna
just
have
been
to
a
keep
while.
waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. You know what I mean?
They know boxing though, Greg, because I'm telling you, they showed up to that fight and they were there for their guy. They were there to ride for Xander, but I definitely sensed from them they knew that their guy was up against it, and I think
Yeah,
they fuck with Boots too. I think because Puerto
yeah.
Ricans love boxing.
Oh yeah,
No, for
no.
sure.
Boots definitely won some Puerto Rican fans that night. It was super electric.
Yeah, it was a great fight overall. Overall, it was a great fight. It was an action-packed fight, and I got nothing but respect for Xander because for one, he didn't even have to take the fight. So
Correct.
thank you, Xander. And then two, he put on a show. He fought. He didn't go in there and just fold. Just fold right away. He fought. He landed some shots and he took some shots.
Yeah, he had a
You know what I
moment.
mean? And you got to be real. You got to be honestly like real when you look at it. He is a special fighter, Xander, because you know why? Not just anybody would do that to him. You know what I mean? He took some mean ass shots and kept fighting. So that let me know you got to be really on a different level, like with everything to beat that kid, especially after this fight. He gonna come back better.
I think he'll be a world champion at middleweight, probably like in the next year or so. Middleweight's pretty thin. Top Rank's probably gonna put him in great position to get a belt.
Yeah, for sure.
Not for sure. Sean,
Yo, I think I cut off a thought about Bud and Boots though. My bad.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I think I did with Greg because you asked Greg something like that. You'd been talking about that fight for a few years, and then I had to ramble on my story and shit. And I hope I didn't cut off something Greg was gonna ultimately get to. That's all.
No, no, I was chilling.
Okay.
Yeah, no. If Bud and Boots fight each other, I don't think either one of them is trying to make it a fight of adjustments. Like it's gonna be. I would tend to agree with Greg. I think it'd be a shootout. Both guys. Terence is a master counter puncher, and Boots likes to rumble. So I think the styles mesh really well.
No, for sure. I'm telling you, I mean, I've been saying it. Star Wars, that's the best fight, man. That's the best fight to me. We ain't seen nothing like that in a long time. And the reason is like it would be so exciting if they made it is because you haven't seen in a while two guys that dominant. I'm gonna tell you probably the closest thing would be probably be Bivol and Beterbiev. I mean, when it comes to like dominance and matching it up, you know what I mean? That's the level that's on.
This fight would have more sauce though.
Yeah, this fight would have a lot more moments
Yeah.
because Bivol Beterbiev they fought 24 rounds and there was some high level stuff, but it didn't really deliver the moments we probably wanted.
Yeah, but that's because of the respect level of the two.
Correct.
Those guys is giants. They'll
Yeah.
hurt you. You know what I mean? So even though we looking for blood and guts and all of that, man,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
still Bivol had to still make it a tactical fight. You know what I mean? Because the motherfucker hurt you. You know what I mean?
That was like in the first fight. I remember Bivol was starting to gain a lot of momentum and he got a little too aggressive and Beterbiev hit him with a shot in between, and then he made it get back to his boxing real quickly. So
Yeah.
one of them kind of fights.
Yeah.
Mad respect to Bivol. Even that last fight against Eifert.
Eifert.
Yeah. There was. I'm just like, man, this dude. Now, what I meant by more sauce, and I know both of you know what I meant, like more pull counters, more head off the line counter punching, hand speed, crazy,
More dynamic exchanges, pretty much.
dynamic, yeah, all that. But there's like a perfection to Bivol's style, with just how everything is sharp and how much he draws that line in the sand with his distance and then you know what I mean? Like even
Yeah.
against Eifert where it's like 12 one-sided rounds, the fight's not really that good, but I'm like, damn, this dude is like perfect at what he does.
He
There's a
mastered
Yeah.
he
perfection.
mastered the Soviet style.
Yeah. Yeah, and shit, his hand speed too, and yeah, man, I can't help it. Even and then Shakur too, who I've had my back and forth with about. He's like, you really didn't think my shit against Teofimo was a masterpiece, and I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I remember Bernard against Tito. Your man Crawford against Spence. Like, those are whooping someone's ass from all three ranges, counter punching, swimming
Yep.
without getting wet, dropping them, stopping them. Like Ward
Mm-hmm.
against Kovalev in the rematch. But that being said, I was finishing my workout. I'm like, let me look up some Chad Dawson because I really liked Chad Dawson back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching Chad Dawson when he beat Thomas Adamek.
That was a great
And
fight.
yeah, man, Chad Dawson was really nice. Like he was under. I really liked Chad Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, damn, I might need to like at Shakur and give him some props because I'm like, because he was a southpaw like Shakur and sharp, but it like his balance compared to Shakur and his management of distance compared to Shakur's on another level. And it just for a minute made me appreciate Shakur because I'm like, Chad Dawson was really good. Like he was that and I'm like, yeah.
Wasn't he on the power list at one point? I could be wrong, but I feel like he was probably in the lower part of the yeah.
From like I know Bernard. I mean, Bernard's my favorite fighter ever, and he beat Pascal, who beat Chad. But I would say overall, from like 2006, 2007 to 2013 or so, Chad was probably the best light heavyweight overall in that era. Like,
Mm.
and I'm just like, man, compared to Shakur, he's like falling off balance on some of his pivots, and he's not dominating every inch of his range like Shakur. It made me have to put some respect on Shakur that much more. Like
Well,
the difference between someone like Shakur and an excellent fighter like Chad Dawson.
well, because Shakur mastered his style the same way Bivol mastered his style. When you get fighters that really master a style, they're gonna outclass guys that are not anywhere close in level to them. So you're gonna get the boring fights. It's kind of like reminds me a lot of like in a sense Rigondeaux. If you get Rigondeaux in there with guys he's way better than, he's gonna have some boring ass fights. But when he had guys that could make him fight, he gave you some good fights. He broke dudes' jaws. So it's the same principle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shakur would beat Tank with me. Tank with the like just because Tank fights at such a slow pace that jab is gonna bank rounds. And I mean, Tank, you could argue is faster than him, is super coordinated and punches harder. Like, but I mean, I'm talking about Tank when he was really Tank. I don't even know if that guy is still around with all the shit that's been going on. Which
I
thing, Greg?
mean, I mean that's why we have to see fights. Cause
Correct.
Tank would, if Tank wasn't special, he wouldn't be Tank. And Shakur, if he wasn't special, it wouldn't be a thing. The Shakur being the sharpest, I agree. But Tank has a style that'll make your mind go crazy because without being hit by him, you already know he can hit. You know what I mean? He can hit you. He could put you in a state of delusion. He hit you in your shoulder, and he might make you think your shoulder's broken. You know what I'm saying? He got that kind of pop. So I don't know how Shakur reacts being in there with him. You know what I mean? With 8-ounce gloves on. When you say you sparred a guy, that's cool. Cause you got the headgear on, the bigger gloves, and you take more chances. In an 8-ounce game, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen Shakur, kind of cower away from guys like Jeremiah Nakatilia, Emanuel Santos. So Tank could give him PTSD of those fights, and
Yeah,
I would say he's more athletic than those guys.
He might be more athletic in some areas than Shakur. He
yeah,
Yeah,
could be.
maybe, yeah. And that's what Calvin was trying to say when he was like, he needs somebody to make certain things come out. That's true. When you fighting certain guys and you winning off a jab, there's no need to go into a deeper bag. I'm beating them off the jab.
yeah, it's
I'm a
easy.
run. I'll run them into a left hand or a right hand, and the fight will be over. But then there's some guys who could keep up with you every step of the way, and now you got to be creative. You know what I mean? Are you going to be creative or are you going to shut down? That's what I mean. That's what we need to be able to see.
The shit he was pulling out in that clip with Gary Antoine was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They
How
were
about the
rumbling.
sparring clip
Yeah,
where he's on
Yeah,
the
with
ropes?
Shakur.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
bro,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was ripping in the pocket. And I know, like Greg just said, that's also with headgear on. And you know, 14, 16s on, but still.
Nah, but no, different fighters are gonna bring different things out of you. And Greg knows this being in the gym. Like certain fighters are gonna make you go to a different place in camp because you got to be sharp with everything.
For sure.
Greg, did you hear that Adrien Broner song with Dean the Great?
When they were talking about who what's his name, DDG or some
Fuck
shit.
DDG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I saw that shit.
Bro, the who is Ka ad lib is one of my favorite ad libs in a long time. From when
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah,
fuck is the moneymaker. Like that's the one everybody's doing. But I die more off how Adrian said, you know, who is Khan? I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I really tried to
real shit.
when they went to see Mike Epps and like, okay, so I you know, I try to lean on the harsh side sometimes to be a truth teller, whatever. And I'm like, you know, these guys could be a good, you know, shitty PG-13 comedy. I was wrong. They're a legitimately good R-rated comedy.
No.
They,
Yeah, that shit is hilarious, man. I ain't gonna lie.
yes.
No, they're killing the game right now.
Yeah,
When they,
for
What,
sure.
I told
Greg?
Brendan,
What?
I said, we might have to be less inhibited, bro, and just act a fool on stream sometimes to get our numbers going. Like we gotta.
Yeah, like we might have to get into the streaming game, Greg.
No,
What you
real
think?
shit.
What you think of these fighters streaming? I feel like you would kill it in the streaming game because you're one of the most entertaining people out there.
I'm just more private than people really realize. So I don't. I mean,
Same.
following me around and shit. Like I ain't.
Yeah.
Because it gets out of control. Like people will stream themselves sleeping,
Yeah,
weird shit like
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah. I think that's crazy. I mean, I fell asleep on live a few times, but it wasn't
but
on purpose.
but yeah, no, that's an accident though. I'm talking about deliberately having a camera pointed at your bed and people watching you catch Z's for 8 hours, and then you wake up and then you do what you do the rest of the day and you stream that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yo, but when they saw Mike Epps, um, and Adrian was like, "That's the nicest way anyone's ever thrown me out." And Mike Epps was like, "I could do it the other way." Like that shit was so funny. He actually, Mike Epps was like, "How's it going back?" Like he's trying to be serious with it. He's like, "How's it going back in Cincinnati?" He's like, "Oh, you know, people hating, trying to kill me." And Mike is
Hmm.
just like, "This fucking dude, this dude is wild." Like I don't know. I love it, man. I'm happy for Adrian. BT will tell you. I used to say years and years ago, I'm like, I wish this dude could find a way in Hollywood in the entertainment business, and now he's
Oh, he,
finally
he found it. No, he
there. Yeah.
found it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all you gotta do is stick to something. You stick to something, it'll work.
It'll work out.
He
Greg,
shouldn't
how
fight again.
Greg, how's the training side? I know you got a fight coming up soon, but how's the training aspect going for you? Like training fighters.
It's cool, man. It's just boxing is real political.
Oh, it's the
You know what I
worst.
mean? So I see sometimes people in the comments like, "Well, who does he train? And when are they going to get a chance? And how come he not training bigger fighters?" And like, bro, time does what it wants. You know what I mean? Because it keep going. So when the time is right, it'll happen. I'm not sitting here like wishing that I was working with certain people. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm out of Philly, so you know what I mean? Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, there's always going to be fighters coming in and out of Philly, so you always have people to train.
For sure.
Yeah. So Greg, like people that haven't been to Philly, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe like, just the culture of Philadelphia boxing gyms? I know we always hear how tough it is, but like if somebody's never been there, how would you best put it in your own words? What's the Philly boxing culture like?
I mean, one day, all right, so anybody that knows Kenny and Calvin out of Baltimore, they got they got an army of guys, man. They got like little kids, they got grown men, they got retired guys, like they got all kinds of people just coming through their gym. And one day, they was like, Greg, we coming up the box. And it was only one kid from my gym that was like there that was able to box. So I got on the phone, I called like three coaches, and they brought guys over. So Philly is like you could get what you're looking for. You know what I mean? You might not get it from one spot, but you can get what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Everybody, they brought about 7 guys up that day, and everybody got sparring. So I was able to get on the phone, call other coaches, and they pull up with their guys just on a random. You know what I'm saying? And dudes came down to work. So that's like, that's Philly. However you want it, you could get it. You know what I mean? You might have to wait a few minutes, but it can happen for you. You know what I mean?
Who do you think is Philly's? I mean, right now it's Jaron, but like, who do you think is Philly's guy all time? And you would like, I would think Bernard or Joe Frazier or something, but I also would be surprised to hear it's Meldrick Taylor. Like, who's their favorite fighter? You think in their history type, like in
I
the
mean,
gyms these days?
Bernard is the guy you gotta respect. You gotta respect him. But he's not. Bernard wasn't the man of the people.
Is what I've
Joe.
I've heard that. I've heard Philly don't really like they don't really fuck with Bernard like that because he don't come back and show love.
Well, Bernard don't fuck with Philly like that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So he's not really a man of the people. But as a fighter, he is like one of the greatest to ever touch the gloves. You know what I'm saying? But Joe was more of a man of the people.
Joe
You
Frazier,
know what I
yup.
mean? Joe would come to amateur shows and coach. Sometimes he would just be there to watch. And he would never shy away from a handshake or anything like that, or a picture or autograph. Things I didn't see things like that from Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier, he showed love, you know what I mean? And you had to respect that. So I mean, I would go Joe, you know what I mean?
One of the guys I know, 'cause I've seen pictures of you with him on your Instagram. One of the guys I knew you grew up around was Jolton Jeff Chandler, great bantamweight,
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
bantamweights of all time. Talk about him for a second, because I feel like he don't really get the respect universally, even though he's in the Hall of Fame. Boxing fans don't really know about Jeff Chandler like they should.
Yeah, I mean Jeff. I met Jeff when I was probably like 12 years old, man, and I just thought he was a guy. I didn't know. I didn't know. I had to get educated on him.
Yeah,
I thought he was a guy. You know what I mean? My coach explained to me who he was, and then I had to do some homework on him. And I got some tapes given to me, some VHS tapes. I had to go home and watch them. And Jeff Chandler was the nicest guy, man. Like one of the nicest, coolest, like his mannerisms was like kind of silly at times. He loved to laugh. Jeff Chandler
yeah,
loved to laugh, but he was a killer. I say that because even though he was a fighter and he was retired, I remember in high school one year a kid was fucking around with him on the avenue, and
yeah.
he knocked the kid out, and 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 I was like, oh shit, like you know what I mean? That's Jeff Chandler, like you know what I mean? What else would you expect from a former world champion? You know what I'm saying? And you playing in his face. He didn't ask for much. He didn't want much. He was a good dude. You know what I mean? He had his house. He had his kids. He was cool. You know what I'm saying? He was just a cool ass old head. You know what I mean? But real funny. He made the gym fun. When you was in the gym with Jeff, he made it fun. And he always talked about a liver shot. He always talked about giving out liver shots. You know what I mean? That he was big on that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun around Jeff Chandler, man. Great
Not
dude.
He's a great fighter. One of my favorite fights, low key, is I don't know if you've seen this fight with him and Johnny Carter. It was like the Philadelphia
Yeah,
bantamweight title fight.
yeah.
I like that fight a lot.
Yeah, he had went. It was crazy because he had went to school with Johnny Carter, and
Yeah,
I think Johnny Carter was boxing before Jeff, and Jeff kind of got into boxing like a little like after school, like after high school, and but Jeff ended up being the favorite.
You
yeah.
guys are putting me on. I can't even lie. I didn't know nothing about this shit.
No, Sean, I'm telling you, Jeff Chandler's the truth. He's one of the all time like top. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best bantamweights of all time from Philly.
No, for sure.
I'm sleepy. I did show Brendan that Bernard Hopkins, Antoine Eccles too, though. I put Brendan on too. Okay, I'm not a slouch.
Antoine Eccles, yeah, Antoine
But
Eccles he hated Bernard.
that I love that fight because Bernard Hopkins showed the world how to really be dirty, like how to really
With
be
craft,
grimy in the pocket.
I mean, what's so crazy though? What I respected about Bernard, Bernard showed you like the referee is not really there to help you. Like he's there to help you, but he's like not really there to help you because if you don't get off, the other guy get off. You know what I mean? The other guy do that to you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So you got to do what you can while you in there because it's a lot happening. You know what I mean, in a short amount of time, and a lot of people can't see it. You know what I mean? So it's still a fight. So you better get off before he do. You know what I mean? So if it's looked at as dirt, it's dirt, but it's a fight. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I gassing it too much? Or I really, because Bernard and Terrible Morales, those are my two guys. Those are my favorite fighters ever. And I feel like Bernard is a little underrated. I think it's no coincidence he by far is the oldest champion in boxing history. And I feel like, yeah, Floyd was better than him overall. Someone like Roy at his peak was better than him overall. But I feel like I've never seen a fighter as crafty and as skilled as Bernard at the same time. I mean, yeah, he would be his balance maybe wasn't as perfect as a Shakur or Bivol like we were talking about earlier, but I never seen a fighter with that much nuance and subtlety and craftiness to him. I mean, he had so many tricks up, so many little beautiful things that he did. And I still think like the Trinidad fight is the most beautiful performance of my lifetime, arguably. I mean, that thing's a masterpiece.
That's the first fight I ever watched ever in boxing.
Right.
That
So I
fight.
don't know, Greg. Like even his shoulder roll gets slept on, like because James Toney and Floyd they have that more iconic look and style to it. But Bernard, man, like he used to have his lead hand all the way down by his knee sometimes. And I'm
Yeah,
like, yo, you gotta have balls to trust your defense like that. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's not even at the midsection; it's all the way down, and he's just tucking his chin, right hand. What do you break it down to me, Greg? Like just how special Bernard as a technician, as a yeah,
Well, I don't think people realize how much of a character he is. He
Mm.
he he would go in there and literally fuck with your mind. And I say that because that's why when you brought up Jermaine Taylor fight earlier, I got what you were saying. Because Jermaine Taylor didn't give a fuck about Bernard.
no,
And Bernard, and that's why he beat Bernard. One reason. And he of course he was more active. He was younger and he was wild and he was tall. You know what I mean? He had long arms. But the average motherfucker going there with Bernard, he gonna control him. He mentally would get to you during the press conferences, during the weigh-ins, things like that. Then when you get in there with him, he slow the fight all the way down to where it almost don't feel like a fight. And the next thing you know, he uppercutting you, and then it might be a headbutt behind it, or it might be a hook with an elbow, or he might grab you by the waist and then slam on your ribs or slam on your hips, or in a clinch, he might punch on your legs. You know what I'm saying? It was things he just did, man, that he understood. Like my dad used to say, skullduggery. Like when you get in the guy's brain, and then you controlling their brain, there's nothing they can do to you. And Bernard was great at that. And I feel like with the hard work, the dedication, the skill set, and all of that, when you put all that together, it didn't look the prettiest because it's coming
No.
from middleweight. Middleweight isn't a pretty division, but it was nasty. It was fighting. That's fighting. You know what I'm saying? And people don't get that. I don't understand where we fighting for our lives, and somebody's like, "Oh, he's fighting dirty." You're like, bro, it's a
The fight.
fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Even because I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of times when people get hit in the back of the head and stuff like it's not always on purpose. It's
No.
because I'm launching this missile and wherever it lands, it lands. You know what I'm saying? Once the shit leave the launching pad, it's gone. I can't bring it back. You know what I mean? So we in Philly, you get hit low, the instructions is always return the favor. You know what I'm saying? That's how I learned it. And that's how I give it out. A motherfucker hit you in the back of your head, you might not have to do it right away, but get that shit back. Let him see what that shit feel like. You know what I mean? So Bernard was kind of the guy. I'm gonna get to it first. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna slow the fight down, and I'm gonna put your mind in a fucked up place. He might even have you so mad at him that you forget the game plan. You know what I'm saying? Bernard was good at that. Then it got to the point where he was a veteran. He's doing push-ups in between rounds. You know what I mean? He doing little shit. That's just to fuck with your head, man. You know what I mean? So
but Greg,
he was
there was
just
even a part before he started slowing the pace down. When he got older, he used to just get busy and beat people the fuck up, and
Yeah.
I still think his
but
defense.
But
is
even
one of the greatest ever too.
But
Amazing
even,
defense.
but no, you're right. But even if you watch him, even when he was younger, he still was slowing the pace down. He was he
Yeah.
was just he was just doing more because he was younger. But he would step out of there, walk around, take a walk, feint you. You know what I mean? Dip his head and turn the uppercut. Like he
Maul
would do a
you.
lot. Yeah, he just did a lot of shit in there, man. He just did a lot of shit in there. And that's
Yeah.
what make him a great fighter. And he was consistent. And you can't be mad at him. He got a list full of names. He got a graveyard full of names, bro, that he beat.
I want to acknowledge the super chat right quick. Shout out to my guy Sam Garcia. He says Tony Hirsch Jr. advertising for prospect of the year. Yeah, shout out to Tony Hirsch. He's been doing this thing on Zuffa Boxing.
Yeah, yeah, quiet killer too, man. From Oakland,
Quiet killer.
son of
Yeah, I
a
remember.
pro. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. It was hard to get him to be boisterous or open up a lot, but you could tell the kid is serious and believing now. After he upset Merriweather, he feels like he's gonna take a run at the top. So good for him.
I remember like in March, I didn't even know who Tony Hirsch was, and I remember I saw him spar with Angelo Leo in Vegas for camp, and I was like, wow, who's this guy? And he's pretty good. And then I kind of knew like because I seen Robert train before, and I seen him, spar and fight a little bit. I said, this kid's probably gonna be Robert. And he did, and then he got a big knockout recently. So yeah, shout out to Tony Hirsch, man, doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Zuffa matches the prospects tough, but they get the headliners 10-1 fights. That's some shit.
Hey, Greg, what's your take on Zuffa Boxing, man? You got any thoughts on Zuffa Boxing?
I mean, man, they like anybody else. They trying to, let us know that they the next best thing coming. The thing is, like Sean just said, when it comes to the top guys, we ain't seen the matchups just yet. But for the lower tier guys, the 8 rounders on down, they putting on great fights. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But when it just comes to the bigger names, it's tough to make these fights. I don't know if it's true because we never know if it's true, but I think they paying these names so much money, it's hard to find opponents. Cause now you don't want to pay the opponents. And then when you do have to pay the opponent is a guy who's seeing himself as also an A side. So it's like, damn, I gotta pay both of them 10 million, or I gotta pay both of them 50, and I don't think that's what they trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like we had at one point in time it was matching with the zone coming into the fold when they first started. Then we had PBC with Al Heyman. Triller had a little moment in time when they started off. So nothing's really new under the sun. I think the real test for Super Boxing is going to be where they're at, 18 months from now.
Yeah.
Judge us by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But but see, this is the thing. This is what people missed about PBC. When PBC did it, they made everybody look like a star.
They did.
They made everybody look like a star. That was the thing. So every fight looked like it was a fight. It looked like a great fight. Even if it wasn't or was. You know what I mean? No matter what, they made them look good. They made
It was an
everybody
event.
look good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're
I mean,
gonna
playing
take
the same song on NBC was a little corny for every single
playing,
walkout in the
you
early days.
said playing who?
Remember they had the theme song on NBC for
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
walkout.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to. I mean, of course they had to experiment, but I think overall they did a good job at boosting everybody's profile. Now you got 5 guys saying they the face of boxing. It's not possible. You know what I'm saying? And we got to start being more realistic. And the reason we not being more realistic is because guys is like, listen, if I could keep screaming that I'm the best, it's going every day. It's going to be 10 subscribers that agree. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's looking for the subscribers. Everybody's looking for the believers, and they'll lie to you if they have to, just to get it done.
And no one's unanimously come to the head of the pack yet, head and shoulders above everybody. So anybody
Right.
who feels like they got a crack at claiming that is taking their shot to say it. Until
Right.
someone really rises above the rest, like Canelo did, like Floyd did, and it's like, no, we know who the face of boxing is. Guys are gonna keep doing that.
Let me ask
Right.
y'all both this: do y'all think there could be a face of boxing with like all of boxing being on the Zone now? Because even though the Zone is a good platform, the Zone is behind a paywall. They're not the biggest platform in the states right now. Could there actually be somebody that transcends like to the casual sports fan in America?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I ain't gonna lie, bro. I got a list of three probably, and maybe two, because Benavidez is one of them, right? But Benavidez is at such a high weight. It's like, all right, how high can he go? Because if we asking too much, we basically asking him to be a heavyweight. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He went right up to cruiserweight and went at one of the champions. That was amazing. Now, but it's like we got Ja Opataya, and it's like, all right, what after that? And then you telling us you might go back down to 75. You know what I mean? It's like, so I don't know how long that lasts with Benavidez. Abdullah Mason, with his heart,
yeah.
with his heart and his skills, I think he got a chance because he got a baby face, but he's a stone cold killer. He's a
He is.
stone cold killer. Boots is giving me a little bit of that Roy Jones feel. You just don't know what you're gonna get tonight. You know you're gonna get something, but you don't know what you're gonna get. So we pulling up just because we know we about to get a surprise, but we don't know what type of surprise. You know what I'm saying? And I'm being real. That's my three.
Mm,
That's my three.
I like it.
not a
I
bad.
like it. I like it. And I think, well, okay, real quick to answer the original question, can it still happen despite the? Remember Jeff Goldblum, Brendan, in Godzilla, or excuse me, Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
He's like, life finds a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll find a way to happen
You talking
regardless
about
of
the
the
you
platform.
talking about the old head from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, was he in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the tall one with the black hair.
he was in that, BT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
No,
was.
okay, yeah, he. Remember, they're all like the scientists asked him, so you think in a park full of only females they will breed? He's like, I'm saying life will find a way. So to Brendan's like, so you think on a platform that very few people in America really know about in the mainstream conscious that loses money every year, you think a real superstar can come out of that? Life will find a way, Brendan. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love that because Abdullah, I said, by the way, one thing I do like about Boots fans and every fan base in the social media era has their annoying section, their sycophants, their dick riders that, they get at me and Brendan, we say something about their favorite fighter. It could be Haney fans, it could be Canelo fans, it could be Usyk fans, it
In
could
a
be
way.
Boots, Inouye fans, right? It's across the board. Once a fighter starts to really become the guy, what comes along with it is a lot of dick riders that annoy the shit out of me and Brendan. But that being said, one thing I do like about Boots' fan base, and it's not to knock Ryan and Shakur and Devin and Tank. Like the best way I could simplify is they got like a teeny bopper kind of fan base section to them.
I like
And
him.
Yeah.
what I noticed from Boots is it's like grown men from the East Coast that are like, yo, we show up to see Boots get busy.
Luke.
We know we're gonna get our money's worth, and so that's cool. Um, but Abdullah, what got me some heat before his fight with Albert is I think this kid, because he's got a 74-inch reach, because he has an exciting style like Benavidez and Boots, and because he's so young, and because he's a puncher, and because he's disciplined outside the ring, straight and narrow Muslim kid, I think he can surpass in the long run. He's not as smart and as skilled as yet as guys like Keyshawn and Devin and Shakur and Tank and all those guys. I think even at the age Abdullah's at now, we're just kind of naturally more of a fighters that knew how to set traps and had a little bit of sophistication to them. Not to say Abdullah doesn't, but I think long term, his ceiling, I think he could surpass all those guys. Is that putting too much on the young bull, Greg?
I'm agreeing with you because he's starting his shit early.
Yeah.
He's letting it be known early. The only thing that can happen to that kid is a female. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? I think he's smart enough to know not to drink. I think he's smart enough to know not to smoke. I don't know how he is with the females. That's not my
Mm.
business, but I gotta be real. That's the only thing I feel like could stop him. Because when it comes to making matchups, he said it. I don't I got enough brothers, so there ain't nothing stopping me. And I
Right.
don't care about I don't care about all of that. You know what I mean? And that's not throwing a shot.
No, no.
That's the truth. Because I'm in a sport where if it has to be me or you, you're going to choose you. So I'm going to choose me. You know what I mean? I want to eat. You know what I mean? I got to take care of my family. He's
Correct.
the star of the show. And he's on a great path early. So the only thing that can happen is for him to get better and smarter and sharper. You know what I mean? But what I love about him is he's not turning down no fights. He want to fight.
I mean,
So, and I think, and I'm gonna even say this, even if sometime in the future he took a L, he would come back from that.
Hmm.
He give me that vibe that he would
yeah.
come back from that. He won't be like, all right, damn, I had to go fly to Africa and stay for a month and get my mind right. Nah, I took a loss to the better man that night. I got back in the gym. I had to, it's time to get busy. He just give me that type of spirit, man, and I just wish him the best.
Now he's really well grounded. I remember like 4 years ago when he came to Miami to start sparring people. I asked him. I was asking him about like certain matchups, and he said, I'm not really worried about the matchups. Boxing will dictate who I fight. Whoever is there, that's going to dictate who I fight, which is not an answer you normally hear from a young kid who's coming up in the fight game. And
Right.
he did a great. Like I was there. I had the honor to be there in Ohio for the fight with Bell, and it was one of the most electric crowds I've ever experienced. They had like 10,000 people there. Toledo really showed up at our Bell as well.
Yeah.
And he did a great number on TNT's opening broadcast. So, like to your point, he's off to probably one of the best starts we've seen from any young fighter in America in a while. All the way around the
Yeah.
board, in the ring,
Yeah.
out the ring, commercially.
Real shit.
I think he could beat the winner of Lamont and Zepeda.
I mean,
Ooh,
It's not easy. Like
yeah, that's a
Lamont,
large order.
it is. But I think he could do it.
I see where you're coming from, though. You're not wrong.
he
I
could.
don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think that's like actually in the cards. But I think that's the most ambitious they could get, and it would be a gamble. But without actually getting him beat, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't sound like a
yeah,
top rank type of move.
no, no.
No,
I
no.
And
mean,
Lamont, wants bigger fights. He doesn't want to fight some young 22
yeah.
year old. Like, yeah,
Well, it's
I
like
mean,
say,
imagine if they did though. He would be, it's crazy.
yeah, the styles mesh really well too, because those are both guys that like to get in the pocket and rumble with you. One guy's a volume puncher. Maybe one guy you could say loads up a bit more and can counter. Lamont does a lot of crafty stuff on the inside.
I mean, he knocks
Hmm.
Zepeda out. He would knock Zepeda out, I think. And then Roach, that's trickier, But Roach isn't a big guy, man. Doesn't have a long reach. Isn't a big puncher.
Yeah.
So it would be a gamble, but I feel like it's a gamble that if Top Rank and Mason could land it, they should actually consider doing. But I don't see it coming. I mean, I like Lamont, and Lamont is looking towards a Shakur fight or maybe Oshaki if Oshaki moves up and wants to, yeah, man, like Tank rematch, Pitbull
Pitbull,
rematch, right? So, but that's just what I think for Abdullah. I think
Yeah.
that's the most ambitious they could get right now without getting him beat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would be the winner of that fight.
If Zepeda would have come to that fight, I don't think Zepeda would fight Abdullah, just because of how his promoters like Zanford Promotions they don't really put Zepeda in there with punchers. Look at his resume; he hasn't really been in there with too many punchers.
Yeah.
I would favor Raymond to beat Abdullah right now, though. I think Abdullah's upside is definitely higher than Raymond's, but Raymond's underrated a little bit. Then again, though, he's got to show me he could put together performances consistently like he did against Andy. But what I saw, I mean, Greg was there. He had his guy get robbed in the co-main event, Jesse Hart.
Oh, yep.
but Raymond looked really good that night. So
No, he did. He definitely did. He looked
but
great. He looked on point.
hmm
He looked sharp. You know what I mean? But like you said, he just got to show more. He got to get more. And then he's in the dilemma because he's talking about going to 40. I think things change at 40.
Mm.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
40. He's not gonna impose himself as much.
yeah. But Robert Garcia is a great coach because Robert Garcia, what a lot of people don't know about him, they look at him, they see the name, oh, Mexican style. Robert Garcia was a boxer.
Mm.
I mean, if you watch any Robert Garcia, then you know he was a boxer. So he could teach you how to box too. You know what I mean? He'll hit that button. He'll hit that button if he have to. Yeah, he'd rather you press a guy out, but he'll have you box too if you you know
Well,
if need be.
look at like Bam. Look at Bam, or even Mike Garcia, or even some of the things that Virgil does, like the way Virgil stopped Lubin with the angles.
Yeah.
Fernando back in the day
Fernando.
against Quartet.
Fernando. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Robert said, he told Najee, he was like, I wanna train a black fighter. Everybody thinks because I'm Mexican, I just want to train Mexican fighters, but I could train that
Yeah.
style too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone take Robert up on it, man. Like,
Yeah. And that's just a
yeah,
coach wanting to be great, man. You know?
yeah.
What about you, Greg? Would you want to train a Mexican fighter, or like a Latin
Yeah.
fighter, some fighter from another culture?
Hell yeah, because it shows your range, man. It
Mm.
shows, that you have an open mind. You know what I mean? Some people think, oh, you're a black guy from Philly, then that's all you know. But nah, you know what I mean? I actually, and then people don't know this about me, but like my early school years, I mean, I went to school with everybody, Russians, Asians, Africans, you know what I mean? All types of different Spanish cultures. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was in school with everybody. So, you know what I mean? I feel connected to those people even when they don't really know. You know what I mean? I feel connected. So, and I have trained a guy. Like I trained a guy from Kyrgyzstan one time,
Ooh,
and he thought like he was like explaining to me what that is, and I was like, I looked at him and I was like, "You talking about Genghis Khan?" And he was like, "Oh shit!" He looked at me. He was like, "You know about Genghis Khan?" I said, "Yeah, I know about Genghis Khan." And then ever since he loved me. A guy named Timur Shea. You know what I mean?
okay.
Shaylazov. That was his last name. Shaylazov.
Shayla's okay. So that's real different, because that's Central Asia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's like a
Way out there.
Russian, yeah, a
Yeah.
Mongolian type shit.
Mongolian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, before you get out of here too, man, is Ryan gonna knock out Conor Benn, or you don't see it just that simple and plain?
I think to be honest, it's possible for sure. But I think Conor Benn worries Ryan a little bit that night.
Mm.
The reason I say that, Conor Benn has this look on his face like
Yeah,
almost like he's looking through you, like you're not shit. Right?
he's
And then
intense.
his
Yeah,
yeah, and then his movement is a little offsetting. If Ryan can't time him the way he would like, then they gonna rumble.
Yep.
But if Ryan could get out there and establish a jab and kind of place, put kind of been where he want him, yeah, Ryan gonna get him up out of there. But I think that's just a good fight because you're talking about two guys who go in there and their energy is gonna take over. So I think it's gonna be a good fight.
They, they're gonna want to trade.
Yeah,
yeah. My initial take on the fight with Raheem the other day, I was dismissive of Conor Benn, but
yeah,
he's explosive though. Like he does, and the two things that have given Ryan kryptonite is twitch and power.
yeah,
And he may very well show up with both of those things even at 147. And when you're describing the fight, like, well, if Ryan fights behind his jab a little bit like that, he doesn't consistently do that.
No, no.
He wants to. He just doesn't. Like even when in the Devin fight, he got off his left hook, and then a
yeah,
few times in spurts, he pressed the button where his hand speed was just overwhelming. Just run, not even really placing shots beautifully, just you know pressing the button, letting off rounds, letting off shots, and
yeah,
getting the left hook in there off the combination. But if it's like, I mean, he did it good against Barrios, but Barrios was so flat. He doesn't fight with ferocity and intensity. He's not winging heat. like Conor Benn does. Like I had to, even just watching Conor on the pads, like you're like, oh shit, he is throwing some shit. Like he is
Yeah,
throwing
Yeah,
some heat, but
I, I don't
I
think
don't know.
Ryan,
I still think Ryan's gonna win, but on second thought, I couldn't be so dismissive of Conor.
right.
I don't think Ryan's gonna respect Conor either. I think he's gonna try to maybe in the first couple rounds like spam his left hook, like really get into it, like it really just establish that I am the dominant force in this ring, and that might be his undoing.
Yeah,
He shouldn't do that, but it's a big fight. Like when he fought Barrios in the first round, he let off and he got that early knockdown. And I think just his whole career from the tank fights, that fight, he likes to start fast if he can.
right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see though. I mean, and the thing is, I think Conor Ben is a tough guy, but somewhere I see a bullshitter. I don't know why. But then it's the same with Ryan.
Yeah,
Ryan, Ryan, I heard sometimes in the gym, he's like, I don't feel like doing that today. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think honestly, it makes for a great fight.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I
Well,
mean?
it's like both guys you could say really, I'm not trying to discredit them, but it's just the truth. Like both guys really don't. You can make an argument. Neither guy really deserves to be in this kind of a fight.
right, right.
Ryan got a title shot coming off of a loss to Rolly, and then Conor Benn hasn't even fought at welterweight in 4 years. So it's
Right.
like, fuck.
Yeah. But
The
they gotta
clash of
make
the Clout Kings.
right. Some
Yeah,
shit like that. Yeah.
This is like an
yeah.
example of like how they say in box, like it's not about skills, how good you are. It's how many asses you can put in the seats and eyeballs you can draw. It's that this is an example of that to me.
Yeah,
Sometimes
real
you say
shit.
about a guy, this guy came up. He came up the hard way. He had to get it through the back door. That you would not say that about Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. Like,
No, it's the other.
respect to Ryan's amateur career. Like, I get it. He was
Yeah,
stellar, but
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, to Brendan's point, he just said, like, back to back number one WBC rankings off of no merit.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
the WBC's had a mandatory for like over a year. I mean, nobody cares about him because he's not a big name. The Suleiman Tszoko, he beat Mean Machine to become the mandatory. The
Ain't nobody
WBC,
trying to see that, bro. Shout
no,
out
no,
to the
I know. I'm
WBC.
just
They're
making a
right.
point.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah. No.
WBC let Pacquiao jump the line, and then they let Conor Benn jump the line, who hasn't fought in the weight class in 4 years. So, what do you want to do?
real shit.
I'll cut the sanctioning body some slack. Like, if you're Jack Catterall, if you're Giasov with the Rolly situation, you deserve to say this is some bullshit. But yeah, I'm down for that Rolly Tiafimo over either one of those fights. Go ahead, WBA. And then the WBC, same thing. Like, yeah, I'll watch Ryan and Conor. I'm good on Sissoko. Like, I can't even lie. I can't. Two things are true at once. Is it bullshit? Yes. But
Yes,
would I rather watch the fight that they have on the table instead? Absolutely.
What does the win mean for either guy?
If Ryan sparks him out, that's just being a star.
Mm.
Just
yeah,
being a star.
yeah. It gives Ryan a lot of momentum to build up the Devin Haney rematch.
Mm.
And for Conor Benn, it would give him some much needed credibility because really and truthfully, Greg, Conor Benn never even won the smallest regional title in the UK, which is the Southern Area title. He never even won that. He
Mm-hmm.
struggled with mid-level fighters like Pete Dobson and Adrian Granados and looked limited against those guys, even in those wins. So it's going to
Mm-hmm.
give him a lot of much needed credibility he's looking for. Because people just say that Conor Benn got to where he got to because his dad's Nigel Benn, and for better or for
Right.
worse, there's truth to that.
He'll
Right.
shut a lot of people up,
Yeah,
myself included.
correct.
Well, not
Gotcha.
really, because I'll still talk the day after the fight, but you get the
Both
point.
wills.
Real shit.
so, but yeah, is that it, fellas? Well, we got anything else?
I don't got nothing else. I mean,
Man, I
is
appreciate
there
y'all for
anything?
having me.
Yeah, no, it's great having you on, Greg, for sure.
Yeah,
You
just let
carried
me
us,
know.
Greg.
Yeah,
You carried
no,
us.
no, I appreciate y'all. Y'all was rolling, man, before I got on here.
yeah, no.
Shit.
I was getting on Sean's case, Greg, because like people ask me everywhere I go, we need you and Sean to collab more. So I got on him about it, and then we decided to do this today. And then
Yeah.
having you here was a pleasant surprise. You definitely added a lot, so we appreciate you.
No, I appreciate y'all, man, for sure. Just let me know. I got you.
For sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
feel free to carry us on other streams whenever you have time, please.
I appreciate y'all. Get with me.
All right,
It's
Greg.
like being on a team and you just pass it to him and let him score
It's like
punches.
Iverson on the
Yeah,
Sixers.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the key of
I
a
take it.
little defense, and Iverson, he takes the Sixers to the promised land.
Makes it easy.
For
Yep.
sure. I take it.
All right.
I get
All
with
right,
y'all.
all right,
All right.
Greg.
Take care, fellas. Have a good night.
All
All
right,
right,
Sean.
bet.
See you guys.